The State Department's most recent human rights report, covering 2022, identified significant problems, including restrictions on religious and press freedoms. The 2023 Trafficking in Persons report found that overall anti-trafficking efforts, especially against bonded labor, are still insufficient. As we will hear today, the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom has recommended for some time that the State Department designate India as a country of particular concern. Many of the problems that most worry human rights observers have been linked to current Prime Minister Modi's push to reshape India's secular democracy into a Hindu first nation.
Attacks on members of religious minority communities, including killings, assaults, and intimidation occurred in various states throughout the year. And let's not forget that the one person who got denied a visa pursuant to the International Religious Freedom Act, the original bill written by Frank Wolf, was Modi. It is clear from the report that Muslims suffer greatly, and that for both Muslims and Christians, the situation can vary enormously from state to state within India.
Human rights conditions in India are incredibly concerning. The government, led by the Bharatiya Janata, or BJP party, enforces discriminatory Hindu nationalist policies, perpetuates hateful rhetoric against religious communities, and in several instances has failed to address communal violence that disproportionately affects Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Dalits, Jews, Adivasis, and the Adivasis who are indigenous peoples of India.
Over the last 10 years, Amnesty International and other human rights organizations have documented efforts by BJP authorities to demonize and deny the rights of religious and ethnic groups in India.
And we should note also the impacts of when the government revoked the constitutional status of Muslim-majority Jammu and Kashmir. And I've gone into detail about what those impacts were in terms of mass arrests, internet shutdown, and a total communications blackout, which had severe repercussions for people throughout Jammu and Kashmir.
From the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, the UAPA, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, the PMLA, and the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, the FCRA, which constitute major parts of India's counterterrorism regime, critics have argued that these laws define terrorism in such a vague and imprecise way that they have been used to punish nonviolent political activity, rendering human rights defenders, political opponents, and dissenters vulnerable to malicious prosecution.
However, we've tracked a decline in freedoms over the past decade, with the country losing 11 points in our 100-point index. And in 2021, we changed the country's rating from free to partly free.
The U.S. Commission of International Religious Freedom has just recommended it be listed for country of particular concern, which would, by the way, make a deal like this extraordinarily difficult if it happened, if not impossible.
I certainly will continue to raise these questions. I carry the resolution to designate India as a country of concern